Hey everybody, this is Heather Dewar-Carden coming to you live from Ask Dr. Heather. So we all have a story. I like to share all the time that your story matters. Stories lead to inspiration. Inspiration leads to action, which leads to amazing life changes. Today, I wanted to share probably more of my story than I have before. If you guys know it, then this may be just a repeater, but I want to kind of start here where it all kind of started a time ago. So I am up here in the North Woods, right outside of Park Rapids. It's a little town called Dorset. I'm at my Aunt Millie's cabin. Since I was the age of 5, I knew I wanted to be a doctor. My great Aunt Millie was my grandpa's sister, and she was actually the first female to actually graduate from UMKC. She had many places on the plaza, but this is kind of really where my story wanting to be a doctor really came from, was my great Aunt Millie, who practiced in Kansas City. After she retired at the age in her 70s, she still had 23 free clinics. So I'm going to turn this around. So this is my great Aunt Millie's cabin. She bought this in 1942. My dad was born in 1940, so he was 2 years old. And then later on in life, my Uncle Steve came 3 years later. He is here now, and they built these cabins. So she took a garage in 1942 and converted it into a little cabin. We call it our On Golden Pond. And then a few years later, she built another bunkhouse for my grandpa and my grandma, Polly and Bud Dewar. And then my dad and his brother shared many summers here. When I grew up, my dad took me and my sister here, and now I have the amazing ability to bring my kids with me here today. So I always know I want to be a doctor. Where did it start from? My dad was a farmer from Kansas. I loved the whole vet thing, but didn't love everything about being a vet. But I knew I loved helping people. I loved visiting my Aunt Millie. She was my pediatrician growing up, and she is my great Aunt Millie, I should say. And she passed away at about 100 years old. My other grandparents, Polly and Bud Dewar, which would be my great Aunt Millie's brother, so my grandpa Bud, passed away a few years ago at the age of 97. He was still bowling and golfing and active at church, but just fell down the stairs and bruised a kidney. And then his lovely bride of many, many years, my grandma Polly, choked on a chicken bone. Great way to go, right? So had an amazing life as well. But and then my dad was deceased due to a motor vehicle accident when he was 52, and I am 51 now, so it's a great place to share with you guys. But I just want to share more of my story because people keep asking, where are you? What are you doing? Where did all this come from? So we all have a story. We all have a why. Our why can absolutely change, because I remember there are times, and I'm going to scroll down the lane here while I talk, as you guys see the beautiful cabin, that I loved coming up here with my dad. My dad has amazing stories of coming up here with his Uncle Steve and riding the pontoon boats. And then, there was a time in my life, teenagerhood, I didn't want to come because I'm going to show you guys an outhouse that we had to use. So as you can imagine, as a teenage girl in the 80s, did not want to use the outhouse, but you can see it's just amazing, amazing property here. You can see let me see if I can point right by my Uncle Steve's truck. I'll go past there. You can see an outhouse right about there. And then there's a cabin right over here. I'll show you if I get a little bit further out. And then we have a barbecue grill that we're turning into a bunkhouse. We used to meet in the middle. So, I have amazing memories here. And then the bunkhouse is right here. I don't know if I can zoom in or not. Oh, I can. So there is another house right here that's just got a 1-bedroom, and things zoom back in. So hopefully it zooms back in, guys. So we're going to go down the main cabin, and we're just going to have a chat. But I just wanted to share, there was a time in my life I didn't want to come here as a teenage girl, and then was in college. Of course, it didn't work out, schools and working, things like that. And then, after I have 4 amazing boys, there's a time where you just want to bring your kids up and show them what you have and, kind of your heritage. And then as people pass on, you want to share those amazing memories with them. So I'm super blessed to be up here with my Uncle Steve. He's up here, been working on the cabin for a couple of months. My great Aunt Millie used to come up here for 3 months. So it is called Big Sand. It is the first lake to freeze. It is the last one to thaw. My amazing cousin actually did some carving. She was here last week, so we've had a lot of family coming in every week just sharing this amazing, pretty property. But we're going to talk a little bit more about my story. So these docks are ones that we've all played on, pictures of my dad and his brother and my kids and hopefully next generations to come. So it's kind of a really special treat. We don't have a family home, but we have this amazing family property that is always getting updated, so to speak, as we get more kids in tubing and motorboats. But we still have a golf cart from the 1970s, and we still have a fishing boat right here from the 1970s that we still use. So we still all use everything that we can. Our neighbors straight over here up the hill have been part of our family since the 1970s. So we all get together and do stuff. So I'm going to here and we're going to talk about a why. I've been doing what's called a Health Flick series on Thursday nights because I really wanted to target what you guys want to know more about and help you really understand. Hold on a second, because Rosie may try to come out here. Rosie girl, stay in. Rosie, stay in. I tried to plan this, but didn't work out so well. Let me see if Rosie comes back. Rosie, come in. Well, we'll see if Rosie comes in. She should come in. So we're just going to have a little fireside chat here and talk more about where your why is and kind of what's happened through your lifespan. So many of you know I've always been health-minded, wanted to be a doctor since I was 5 years old, and never thought I wanted to be anything less. My great Aunt Melly, who owns this amazing property, who has passed on, just instilled in me how important it was to help people, and I just loved visiting her as a little girl in her office. So I knew I wanted to help people. My other grandpa on the other side passed away at the age of, when I was in kindergarten, age of 5, from heart attack. Knew I wanted to be a doctor. My grandma on my mother's side ended up having cancer about 7 times before it finally called her home. And she actually passed away due to cancer as well in her 83. But my aunt was 42 when she was vacuuming and passed away, had a coronary vascular heart attack issue. My sister was 48. I have a lot of amazing memories here with her and us growing up. And she had brought her girls here, brought my boys here. So lots of amazing memories here, but it does make you who you are. So I craved to come up here, but there was a time in my life I didn't crave to come up here. And then I only wanted to come up with my kids. And this year it didn't happen. I had a son at Fort Leonard Wood, a son at Fort Knox, a son who just got a new job and doesn't have time off. So I came up with my amazing sister friend. We've been friends since elementary school and sharing this beautiful property with her. So this week's Health Flicks is really going to be targeted on inflammation. There are so many people suffering from inflammation. Oftentimes we talk about inflammation being heart disease, cardiovascular disease, cancer, autoimmune disease, but I'm going to target a little bit more. Sorry, I'm trying to get the phone set up here, guys, without having sun in the cabin here. Maybe I have to hold it. More about what I have. So I've always been a super healthy person, been gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free for, over almost 20 years now. I'm watching Rosie, sorry. And I was in a very healthy state. I always wanted to be functionally fit at 50. This place, this cabin, we used to come up here and I watched the neighbors water ski at the age of 60 and 70 and even 80 years old. And I knew that my parents weren't in that physical shape, but I wanted to make sure I was there for my grandchildren. Our neighbor, Grandma Deborah, was out paddling yesterday, and she's in her late 70s. So it's just amazing to see people on the water being physically fit. That was always what I wanted to do. Lead by example, not only for my kiddos, but for my patients as well, to say, hey, this is what I'm eating. This is what I'm not doing. Come to my kitchen anytime. Look and see what's happening. I practice what I preach. I try to walk the walk that I walk, but I'm no means perfect. It's always about progress. So I'm going to tell you what I have. I know there's a few people on here and a few people know what's going on, but I'm just going to be super real. In 2014, I had an accident, a skiing accident, and thought I just broke my leg. It ended up developing into a more serious condition called RSD, which is called reflex sympathetic dystrophy. It's always onset by a crushing injury. There is no cure. There are some treatments along the way, but there's definitely no cure for it. Some people do receive remission. Children that get this can actually have a higher rate of remission than adults. If it's diagnosed early, which mine was, I fell in March of 2014. I was diagnosed in May of 2015. Signs were my leg was purple. It was mottling. It wasn't healing properly. I was having weird kind of crazy phantom pain, started having like seizure activity and started having tics and things like that. I immediately went on a ketogenic diet. I know ketones preserve lean muscle mass. I had used it in my clinic for years for different lifestyle diseases as an adjunctive tool, not for a cure, but as an adjunctive tool to help people. I also knew that it helped with inflammation. So I was in pretty good shape when I fell. I was skiing black the day before, and I've skied for 40 years, but I knew I was going to be on crutches for 6 weeks, they said. Probably not running again for kickboxing until 9 months, but I thought I've got to preserve the lean muscle mass I have. I'm in my late 40s. So went on a ketogenic diet, would definitely help with some of the symptoms, but it didn't really cure or stop all of them. And so I went along the way. I had several treatments at the Carrick Brain Center. I've had 4 spinal surgeries, 2 ankle surgeries. So what RSD is reflex sympathetic dystrophy. They did rename it called chronic regional pain syndrome. It is a rare diagnosed disease, always onset by a crushing injury. So maybe your foot got ran over by a car, or a soccer player who's had repeated injuries and had their ankle crushed. It could absolutely happen to them as well. It can happen to kiddos, but it can just be onset by weird stuff. I've had genetic testing done. It's not genetic for me. So after having several spinal surgeries, what happened is I started having seizures. I started having tics, had an MRI. They thought I had MS, which I do not. They found some lesions on my brain. So some of it is what was the perfect storm that onset this rare disease, whether it's things like ALS or Parkinson's, or cancer for people, or RSD. It's generally for us onset by a crushing injury. Again, it's normally healthy, active people that this happens to. It was originally diagnosed in the 1940s during the war. But really what I want to let people know is it is the highest pain syndrome. So whether it's wind, whether it's water, whether it's heat, whether it's sun, it has a pain threshold of 50. So it's higher than cancer and it's higher than amputation. Now, a lot of people say, why do you have your legs covered up? Why don't you wear a shoe? It's impossible for me to do that. And what happened is in 2014, I had some conventional medicine because it was only on my right leg. And I had some lumbar punctures, which actually offset it to my left leg because those things are connected in your brain. And then by December, I had a Christmas tree scratch that onset it in my arm. And then I had an IV treatment, which onset it in my other arm. So I do have RSD full body, but I can tell you in November, I'm trying to watch for November of 2014, they told me that I only had about 29 months to live. And at that time, I thought, gosh, that's a long time to live with pain. I'm in a good place with God. My kids are in a good place. I certainly want to be here, but having pain 24 hours a day and not sleeping is not very fun. It can be exhausting. And for me, it was a huge identity crisis. I always wanted to practice what I preach, be functionally fit. Thank you for the hearts, guys, and everyone who's joining me. But I want to be functionally fit. I want to lead by example. So in 2015, a person reached out and said, I know you're on a ketogenic diet. I see you posting about it. And this time I was only reading 5 words at a time. They said, hey, would you help this company with Pure Therapeutic Ketones educate? I know you know about fat. You've been talking about fat. You've been telling people to eat fat. My patients have known this for 20 years. And I had worked with someone on Casey Fit Magazine saying, eat fat, don't eat the bread, don't eat the potato. So she knew where I was and said, I know that you're not practicing, you're recovering from spinal surgeries, but would you try this? So my answer was yes. I tried Pure Therapeutic Ketones and the timing was right. We talk about divine timing. I had just came home from seeing my neurologist in November, and we were going to try an outpatient treatment called ketamine, and 70% of people get relief, and some people even get remission from it, but I did not. I got seizures, and I had a lot of heart issues post using the ketamine, so that did not serve me, but I came home. The hope bubble had smashed. If you guys have ever had a hope bubble or had some type of incurable disease and you think this is going to work, and then I said, you know what? It's not going to work. Put my big girl panties back on, so to speak, wipe away the tears and say, how am I going to be true to myself, which is my mission, which I love everything about being a mother. I love everything about being a doctor except for the paperwork. I even love cooking. I even love laundry. I even love vacuuming and mowing and things like that. But I don't love paperwork. I love helping people. Sorry, guys, I don't have a stand here today. I just felt called that I needed to share this because I've gotten so many questions like, will you please tell your story? So RSD, reflex sympathetic dystrophy, just like it says, is a dystrophy. It causes muscle weakness. So whether it's your arms, your legs, your tongue, your swallower, your intestines, your heart, those are all muscles. So the more you use it, the more you lose it. However, I have found in a ketogenic state, because ketones protect lean muscle, it actually helps calm down all the muscle movements. It helps calm down the tics and tremors. I think I've actually gotten stronger the last 2 years than I have before. People often ask me, well, you're still on that scooter, that wheelchair. When are you going to walk? I'm like, well, you're asking the doctors, you're asking me, because I keep manifesting I'm going to walk. I actually had an episode where I walked 4 steps, and I've got it on video, so I'm manifesting walking more, but don't want to show you guys till I get to 10 steps, but definitely manifesting that. So have not given up hope, but I want you guys to also find something that inspires you, because we're all going through something. We all have a story, but find kind of what rings close to you. So if someone would have told me 5 years ago, you'd be working with this company that sells pure therapeutic exogenous ketones and a shared economy marketing, I would say, no, I do nutraceuticals. I don't do that stuff. But what this has allowed me to do, and I was talking for a long time with my uncle last night, it gave me a new platform to help people, because if I stayed in the clinic and I hadn't had an injury, I would be helping 40 to 50 people a week, trying to write some blog stuff. now I have an opportunity to jump on a Facebook Live in New Zealand last weekend, in Hong Kong next week on next Tuesday night, or Singapore, or Malaysia, or US, or Canada, and have 100,000 people share something that I said that might inspire them to be the best version of themselves. We know 2/3 of Americans are obese. We know that 80% of people will die of heart disease. Again, my sister at 48, my aunt at 42, my mom's had 2 stents and a quadruple bypass. So the statistics are real in my family. And when I'm here, I feel closest to my loved ones. I have amazing memories here and want to make more amazing memories, but it is a little bit emotional. But those are tears of joy and happiness and Thanksgiving that I have this amazing place to come to. But I did want to share with you that no matter what you're going through, there's always hope. There's someone out there you can connect with. And even if it's something like social media, which sounds crazy, you can connect with them. So according to medical literature, I have reflex sympathetic dystrophy that is, again, onset on a crushing injury. There is no cure for it, but there's always hope. There's always miracles, and there's always inspiration. So it has been an identity crisis, saying I have never smoked a cigarette. You can ask anybody who knows me. I haven't done those things, so I should be in a good place. I think that's why I still am here today, past what the doctors had said, and I still manifest that I'm going to be walking and dancing somewhere sometime. But for me as a healthcare provider saying, well, I've never had a cigarette, I've never done that, I've been dairy-free for 20-some years. But you know what? Accidents happen. And I really want people not to prejudge me, because it happens all the time that people are like, well, you've eaten clean and you've never had a cigarette or you've never smoked that, but how come this? Look, you should just have more fun. And I said, I had a lot of fun without having to do those things. So again, sometimes like Mara said, there are mixed messages sent and people do prejudge a little bit. And I'm not on here to point fingers at anybody, but just know that, Stephanie, don't say that stuff. You're going to make me cry. But know that wherever you are in your health journey, that there's always hope. Take it one day at a time. Wake up every single day and say, I have an amazing body that can heal. I have an amazing opportunity here today. I cannot water ski, which I love to do, but I can enjoy everybody else on the river. I can enjoy the hummingbirds today and the loons last night. And thanks to Facebook Live and video and internet we have now in the cabin, which we didn't have for many years, I can share this beautiful little piece of heaven with you. It's 3.5 hours north of Minneapolis, in between Detroit Lakes and Walker, if you know this area. People are like, I know that area. And then Laura, who brought me up, they're actually at Itasca Park today and some zip lining, so lots of fun stuff to do around here. But again, my kids come here. We have no TV. We just got Wi-Fi because my aunt is a medical transcriptionist, so she needs to work from here, and I'm going to work from here too. But everyone keeps saying, share your story, share your story. People in the RSD or chronic regional pain say, you have to share your story. We know that sugar causes inflammation. This diet, this lifestyle has absolutely helped me. It is not an end all. We have a triad of health, right? The mental emotional component. That's why I'm here today. The mental emotional component of it. We have the dietary nutritional chemical component of it. And that's why I shared so much about getting rid of the dryer sheets. You have clothes on you all day long. You lay on sheets that are toxic. Like, just switch it out and use some baking soda or vinegar. Like, there's so many ways that you can help detoxify your body. So we have the mental emotional, and then we have the spiritual, whichever you choose to do. And then we have the physical, which is getting moving, getting exercise, those type of things. So pick whichever one is actually the least out of balance. So if your diet's pretty good, but exercise is terrible, focus on the one that's the easiest to fix, so to speak, or the easiest you can make progress with. I won't use the word fix. And then you're going to have some wins, and then it's going to encourage you to have more wins and have more reason to say, you know what, I think I can get moving now. If I can get a little bit of weight off, I can get moving. I have never heard one person say, well, I just lost 80 pounds and nothing else in my life changed. Or I just got my inflammation down and nothing else changed, because our bodies are all connected. So once maybe it's for fat loss, people use a ketogenic diet. Mine is absolutely for sleep. It's absolutely for seizure control, absolutely to protect my lean muscles so I don't lose any more after the age of 50. And I, again, was in really good shape. So for me, it's not about fat loss. Yes, that's a great little bonus if I can help keep some of that off, because I'm a foodie. I love to cook. I love to eat food. But that's what I love about the ketogenic lifestyle. It is decadent, amazing food that you can eat. Just no s'mores here at the campfire unless I decide to do it, and then I just have to earn it, so to speak. But I am going to be up here a week, and I'm going to be doing some meditation, some fasting, some prayer. Laura is a certified yoga instructor, almost 400 hours, so she is helping me figure out some yoga I can do when that is not weight bearing. And then again, just visiting with stories with my neighbors and my uncle are helping that mental emotional component, being in touch with nature, appreciating hummingbirds and what they can do, and the ducks and the loons and all you guys. So hopefully I did help answer some question of what is going on, because it is a rare neurological disease. Many doctors don't even know it. A lot of people goes undiagnosed for a very long time because they think it's something else, and it's not. I went through the ringer like, do you have MS, which I don't? Do you have blood clots, which I didn't, because my legs turning red and purple and black and all sorts of funny stuff, and then I had a spot in my brain where ALS and where Parkinson is found, so I had both of those symptoms going on. But going on a ketogenic diet, I know people are going to replay this, and adding the pure therapeutic exogenous ketones and eating as clean as I can has absolutely gave me a better quality of life, not cured anything, a better quality of life. It continues to give me hope that I can do things like this and help share somebody, inspire somebody, even if it's just one person. Like if you guys look at Kathy's Mixon's page and see the before and after, amazing how much fat she has lost. But knowing Kathy, there's so many more things than just that physical transformation that happens. And that's true for everyone. So whether it's an emotional transformation, a physical transformation, an overall house detox, whatever that transformation is, just own it, write it down, make a map. If it doesn't turn out positive, like we had a detour, it was raining, detours happen. You just got to reroute and get back on the road, and that's going to give you success wherever you are. So that's a little bit about my story and my why. I want to help people at a larger surface. I want people to really experience pure therapeutic exogenous ketones. I know a lot of people on here are already drinking them, and I want you to experience fasting, because when I fast, I actually can go 3 or 4 hours without my spinal cord stimulators. I have stimulators, so I was going to grab them, that are inside my body that allow me to stand or transfer positions or sometimes sleep. It allows me to actually shower. So I have 2 remotes on the outside of my body. There's one. Don't have a phone stand, guys. Here's 2. So I have 2 remotes that actually control from my neck down to my tailbone. So amazing modern medicine. I would tell you I would never have done that 15 years ago. I had all my kids naturally, no drugs, but here I am. I'm having to use Western medicine, which has given me a better quality of life. But then I'm going to take and I'm going to run with that, and I'm going to do everything that's current and credible, all the current science literature. I definitely want to have garbage, but I know it's not good for me. If I have dairy, if I have sugar, my foot swells up, my knee swells up, my eye swells up. I can post pictures of my face, just by having some real pizza or having like some real French fries. But again, if you guys look at the ketogenic lifestyle and say, this is a lifestyle, it's not a diet, I'm not being punished for this, but I can have amazing benefits. Again, Kathy, post your picture down below because it is an amazing transformation. Stephanie, I can't see everybody on here, is amazing transformation. Mara has an amazing story. Everybody on here, if I didn't mention your name, has a story. Please share it. It's Motivational Monday. Hopefully that answers some questions. And everybody out there who has RSD or chronic regional pain, send all my spoon sisterhoods, and that's what it's called, spoons. We only have so much energy. If we use all our spoons before noon, we're in bed the rest of the day. Or if I choose, what my passion-driven mission is to help people, if I choose to use all my spoons this morning with you guys, or I choose all my spoons going out onto the dock, then I know that it was worth it for me because I made that decision how I use my energy. You don't get it back. Like there's no more spoon reload, if you guys know what I'm talking about. But passion-driven mission, is it worth leaving your family? Is it worth missing something of your children or your family or something? Is it worth your energy and time if it's your passion-driven mission? And mine is, since the age of 5, I knew I wanted to be a doctor. My great Aunt Melly, Rosie, come here, honey. Come here, honey. Sorry, puppy's out. My amazing great Aunt Melly inspired me and practiced until the late 70s, and then had 23 free practices when she retired. And then she left all of her revenue to charities. Not a penny to the people in her family. She left it to people in need. And, she inspires me every day. Being up here, seeing pictures of here, remembering stories of being on this pontoon boat with a chain link fence. It was like the worst thing you've ever seen, playing cards and have a hibachi on there. All that stuff makes me laugh. Like when I was 16, I cringed, but now at the age of over 50, I actually love all those memories and love having that with me. So I hope you guys have a special place that you keep close to your heart. My Uncle Steve is driving up. You guys got to love this. It's called a 1977's golf cart. You guys probably have not seen something like that in a long time. All of the furniture out there was made in the 1940s, and it's still here today. So I have to actually jump off the phone here. I'm going to go chat with my Uncle Steve because I don't get that opportunity very long. And Rosie Girl's going to come in because I think she wants to go swimming. So hope you guys have an amazing day. And this Thursday night will be all about inflammation, chronic invisible pain, which can be migraines. It can be cancer. It can be fibromyalgia. It can be lupus. It can be Lyme disease. Invisible pain is real. Chronic pain is real. It's not like the boo-boo. You scraped your knee and it heals, or just a second. You burned your tongue. you burned your tongue and it heals. Chronic pain is happening at the cellular level. The great news is your body can heal. My uncle could give me a kidney, it could possibly work, right? Because we're related. Or if, you know, if he breaks his leg or he had a shoulder repair, it's going to heal because your body wants to heal, but you have to give it the resources. That's why I'm such a foodie. You don't get resources from anywhere else except for the foods that you eat. So the cleaner that you eat, the more mindful that you eat, which means not in gluttony and not going fishing and killing 25 fish, because I don't need 25 fish for dinner. We need one. And doing things in doing emotional things in abundance, gratitude in abundance, positivity in abundance, but then not eating in gluttony and not overabundance in eating, and just doing things that make your heart feel good. You guys can know what those are. Sometimes you have to do what I did. Leave your home, tune out the office, leave the paperwork stack, leave the voicemail full, come here, re-anchor. We all talk about anchoring, re-anchor, rezone. So I would say that this is my anchor. How ironic, we're on Big Sand Lake in Dorset, but this is my anchor. This is my heritage. This is my home. We don't have a family homestead. If Laura was here, she would tell you that her parents live in her grandparents' house, which is amazing, and tons of stories there. This is my on Golden Pond, so to speak. This is my anchor for my life, and this is my why. So hopefully you guys enjoyed a little bit of the tour of the cabin and the lake house. And then Thursday night, 7:30 p.m., Health Flicks, like Netflix, Health Flicks. We will be talking about chronic pain, invisible pain. If there's other topics you want to know, drop it down below. I'll put the link up above if you want to join, because sometimes I do private workshops and we do private Zooms because people want to share and want to ask questions without being live. So we are going to offer Zoom next week, not this week, just because of my Wi-Fi and my computer's not here. So yay me. Anyway, I want to appreciate you guys for inspiring and doing everything that you do to help keep me motivated to be the best doctor, the best friend, the best practitioner, the best leader, the best influencer I can be. And I'm also here for progress. So love hearing your hints, your tricks to say this would actually make this better. This didn't make sense. I had a post go out and somebody said, that is not you. Take that down. And I did. And I so appreciate the person I don't even know. But I appreciate her enough to say, that offended me. You shouldn't put that up. I was very grateful because maybe someone else might interpret that as well, and that doesn't represent me, who is family and faith and living a free and healthy life. So thank you guys again for joining me, Mike. I'm an hour and a half from the Canadian border, so I'm super close to Canada. We're right by Itasca Park, so we'll be posting some pictures that Laura and Ian Winton did today. We're going to get some amazing sunsets because that always makes your heart feel good. But again, share this with somebody if you know has chronic regional pain syndrome, invisible pain. Know that there's always a way, there's always a detour to work around that. You have to stay focused on your passion-driven mission. It's okay if it changes. It's okay. I had a major detour in my passion-driven mission. I wanted to water ski on this lake every 4th of July until I was 100 years old to teach my next generations that anybody can do anything as long as you physically stay in shape and you eat moderately well, not super toxic all the time. So that is going to be rerouted, but who knows? Through prayer, through miracles, through the body's innate healing, maybe I'll be here at 100 years old, another 50 years water skiing here. Anyway, I'm going to go relax in the hammock. I'm going to go check on my Uncle Steve. I'm going to check on Miss Rosie. Rosie, can you say hi? Say hi, Rosie. Okay, she's the best dog ever. So anyway, Rosie and I are going to go have some puppy time and go check on Uncle Steve. So again, I'm yakking. You guys have a great day. Thanks for joining me today. 7:30 Health Flicks, chronic pain, invisible pain. That pretty much sums it up. So we'll talk to you guys on Thursday. Have an amazing day.